Considering how deep and dark many of the world's waters can get, it's no surprise that folks have been coming up with monsters that live outside of our depth. Since time immemorial, there have been tales and legends of scaly, sinister savages swimming through the sea. Now more than ever, people have a particular interest in what's lurking beneath the waves, whether it's a movie monster, a legendary creature, or something else entirely. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 scary aquatic monsters you won't believe. Before we get going, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more soggy scares. Coming in at number 5, we've got deep blue sharks. You could make an argument that these are just normal sharks, but that argument would be wrong. It would be like saying that the shark from Jaws was just a regular shark. And not even Bruce had the brain capacity to take down an entire aquatic research facility. Let's take a look. The 1999 shark attack thriller Deep Blue Sea was met with mixed reviews, largely due to its heavy use of B-movie plot points. Don't get me wrong, B-movie plot points make the world go round, but listen to this. In Deep Blue Sea, there's a research team trying to find a way to reactivate brain cells affected by Alzheimer's disease. For whatever reason, the scientists landed on using mako sharks. What makes a shark brain special? Who knows? So these Alzheimer's sharks are hanging out in some holding tanks having brain tissue removed and so on. Then one wakes up, bites a man's arm off, and then yanks a helicopter out of the air. As it turns out, these scientists have genetically modified these sharks to have bigger brains in order to ensure they can harvest enough gray matter to do their research. And these bigger brains have enabled the dead-eyed predators to become smarter and more deadly than ever. How do they even manage that? You can just make brains bigger now? Imagine that, making a shark so smart that it could take your place in the food chain. Incredible stuff. Following this reveal, these sharks are nothing but bad news. They kill plenty of people, all while sabotaging control panels, cutting off exits, and generally making a big mess of the research facility. Those big brains really get put to work. So if you didn't already have this recurring nightmare, you can now add brainy fish to your laundry list of fears. Coming in at number 4, we've got Umi Bosu. We'll take a quick break from movie monsters for a moment and examine a terrifying mythological monster. This sea spirit is included in the ever-interesting category of Japanese creatures known as yokai. It will appear when waters are at their calmest and absolutely wreck ships. Isn't that just cruel? When the going is easy, it decides to provide its own type of storm. They appear to be large black humanoid figures. Different sizes have been cited, but they're often tens of meters tall. Legends may vary by location, but a common story is that of an Umi Bosu rising from the water and demanding a bucket or barrel from the sailors. If you hand it one of these containers, it will then drown you. It's been said that the only way to escape one, if it doesn't wreck your ship immediately, is to hand it a bottomless barrel and sail away when it's confused. Many people believe that Umi Bosu sightings are simply the result of seafaring folk incorrectly seeing other naturally occurring phenomena. It could very well be clouds or other large sea organisms. Still, you don't want to take any chances with giant paranormal monsters. The origins of the Umi Bosu are murky at best, and there are no stories that clearly depict its creation at first appearance. However, some say that they are the spirits of dead priests that were tossed into the waters. Their bodies have nowhere to rest, so their souls haunt the ocean, dooming anyone who crosses them. Sheesh. Coming in at number 3, we've got Gillman, also known as the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's hard to look at this classic creature nowadays without conjuring up the many, many other beasts that paid homage. Swamp Thing, Davy Jones's crew, and of course the amphibian man from The Shape of Water. Hollywood was shaped by this slimy, girl-chasing man-beast. Sure, it seems campy and done to death at this point, but way back when, it was a thrilling icon. After discovering a fossil linking land and sea animals, a team of researchers decide to stick around in the Amazon to find more. When the leader leaves camp, Gillman appears. Green and greasy and curious as a child, he infiltrates the camp and kills 2 expedition members in self-defense. And thus begins a strange game of cat and mouse, or researcher and monster and beautiful woman. Gillman has the ability to overpower just about any human in a fight, to swim at unheard of speeds, and of course to breathe underwater. All of this combined with a lust for human female makes him a terrible beast indeed. Sure, it can be argued that Gillman is just misunderstood, an idea that Guillermo del Toro would later explore in more detail, but for the average moviegoer and upholder of the status quo, it was a terrifying beast indeed. The rubber suit may be cheesy, but it's stuck in the collective minds of theater attendees around the world. Coming in at number 2, we've got The Host. Before Parasite, Bong Joon-ho was still putting out movie after masterful movie. In some way or another, they were all about monsters too. Memories of Murder was about a boogeyman, Snowpiercer was about men who would exploit all sorts of people to keep a semblance of order, Okja was about the ever-ravenous food industry. But looking at The Host, it's a movie about a literal monster, and that's pretty much it. There's plenty of commentary about other things in the world, like how the powers that be can be straight up evil, and about how war can have lingering effects long after conflict ends, and also about how the youngest and weakest of us need to be protected. But in the end, The Host is just a crazy monster movie, and the monster is awesome. Apparently it was based on Steve Buscemi too. Who would have thunk? This slimy, bipedal, prehensile tailed beast runs throughout urban Korea, swallowing people whole and disappearing into the water like it's nothing. People unload entire magazines of bullets into it, shoot at it with sporting bows, toss Molotovs, and even unleash terrifying chemical agents, and it still runs around eating children. It's a freaky, straightforward monster with a million slippery folds making up its mouth. And at any given moment, it might regurgitate any number of things. Even if the 2006 era digital effects don't quite hold up, it's still fascinating to look at. And finally, at number 1, we've got Godzilla. Come on, you didn't think I'd leave the granddaddy of all kaiju off this list, did ya? Walking straight up out of the ocean to level entire cities, Godzilla is the archetypal aquatic monster. The roar, iconic. The silhouette, iconic. The destruction, iconic. Without Godzilla, we wouldn't have any other kaiju either. Say bye-bye to the ocean-spawning beasts from Pacific Rim. Sayonara to all the crazy monsters the Super Sentai and Power Rangers fight. Bye-bye to the Cloverfields, Gameras, and Mega Sharks. Godzilla is the aquatic monster. A prehistoric sea creature given power by nuclear radiation, this upright reptilian is a force to be reckoned with. Described by a doctor in the original film as a transitional creature somewhere between marine and terrestrial, there's nowhere to hide from Godzilla. It's taken many forms over the years, but retains most of its classic features: the furrowed brow, rough scales, long tail, and enormous legs. Sometimes it even takes a while to evolve to that point, like in Shin Godzilla. It has atomic breath, which it uses to vaporize anything it wants. Different iterations feature magnetism, fireballs, laser beams, flying, and electric bites too. So if you're ready for one form of Godzilla, there's dozens more waiting in the wings to test the populace in new, destructive ways. King of the monsters, right? Who wants to go for a swim? Nobody? Huh. I guess all this talk of aquatic monster madness has made taking a dip a little less appealing, eh? My bad. What aquatic monsters would you have included? Ever been swimming with sharks? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more honorable ones from the top 5 scary monsters that should be SCPs part 2. Overseer Orm says, personally thinks Silent Hill would fit pretty well, just as a location that brings people in and makes them face their guilt and sins. Absolutely. Location-based SCPs are a blast, and Silent Hill fits the bill. Stern Jester says, the Hunter from Bloodborne would be an awesome SCP, like something created to hunt the SCP and then take in their power, and then his story would end as he is fighting 001. I would imagine the Hunter being added to a mobile task force, maybe even being the sole member of his own Yharnam cleansing squad. All the beasts and brutes could be SCPs in their own right. The Hitsubasa says, would the silence be Keter or Euclid? I think Keter. Definitely Keter. If you can't remember it, how can you contain it? Nightflame 3000 says, while not technically a monster, but it would depend on the person, the mask from the mask. Just imagine anyone getting a hold of it. They would be immortal and would cause untold mayhem and destruction. I think it would be better to keep it under wraps. That's actually a really good idea. It would be an artifact that stays safe until someone tries to break it out, and then all hell breaks loose. And Sombra Zorro says, you guys should do Pokemon that should be considered Pokemon. Good call. I'd say all of them, but that's just me. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I attend my very first Fight Club meeting, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more wet wickedness. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.